Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Abuja. It's a beautiful time to be on your show once again. Remember, my name is Daniel Black, and this is Agriculture for Today and Tomorrow, where we promote smart solutions for greener harvest. This is a media for agricultural development project of Growth for Sustainable Agriculture initiative. And today we will be elaborating on a very key topic that has probably before now been relegated to the background. You know, in agriculture, in food production per se, in the food systems, we have this issue of food safety where you cannot randomly pick a farm produce in Nigeria and just take out of the country and export and sell in the global market. There will always be that issue of it not meeting the food safety regulations globally. So many farmers, we have very minute quantity of farmers who are specifically planting for the global market that are meeting these standards. And then you now wonder what standard of food are we eating inside locally in the country. And then, you know, with this you understand that there is a very big market divide, a very big market exclusion of rural farmers from the international market. It is looking like a cabal where there are certain things you need to know, there are certain things you need to have before you're able to produce food that can be taken to the export market. And then whatever you're producing is seen for the domestic market, which can be quality or cannot be quality. So today we want to talk about food safety in the farm. You know, we here on this program, we promote smart solutions for greener harvest. And one of the smart solutions that farmers in Africa, farmers in Nigeria need to begin to adopt is what? Food safety. It's a very, very important component of farm that farmers actually relegate. Farmers actually do not take seriously. They take it for granted. They just feel once we spray, once we plant, once we do this, and then we have harvest, we are done for the day. But it is important to note that the food that is being consumed needs to meet up certain standards, certain food safety standards for it to be deemed qualitative enough. And when we are talking about achieving food security in Nigeria, we need to know that food security, the element of food security is not just availability of food, but the nutritiousness, the safety of that food. We cannot be eating poison, we cannot be having poison in large quantities, we keep on eating it and we say we are food secure. So it is a very, very big issue. It's a it's a project that in fact has been highlighted by our sponsoring organization, that is GSAI, where this year we are commemorating the 2025 World Food Safety Day and carrying out a massive awareness, a massive enlightenment for farmers to begin to adopt. Whether you're producing for the international market, whether you're producing for the local market, we should be adopting equal and same standard of food safety in our farms. So we'll just highlight what food safety is all about. Food safety on the farm refers to implementing practices that reduce the risk of contamination in production, handling and processing of agricultural products. So from production, handling and processing. So handling and processing, we may now shift it to the manufacturers, to the agro processors. But production is where we want to emphasize on. Food safety needs to begin to start from production. We should not wait until when we are processing before we ensure that our food is safe. We should not wait until when we are producing, because the moment you produce something contaminated, if you produce a food that has high residue of pesticides, high residue of, for example, atrazine, which has been banned world over but is still being used in Nigeria, you have high residue of atrazine, which is a herbicide used to kill weeds, and you have used it so much that there is large residue in your soil and it is taken up by your crops. That food, no matter the processes you put it through, you say you boil it, you pasteurize it, you ferment it, that residue will still be present in your food product. And of course, it is not all food products that even go through this processing. Some just go through washing. The moment you wash it, like fruits, people go to consume it, and then they get to consume these residual poisons in our system. So food safety refers to implementing practices that reduce risk of contamination. Contamination does not just talk about spoilage. Contamination refers to chemical contamination, biological contamination, even genetic contamination, because by the time we are now planting crops that are not genetically sound, right? We begin to eat crops that are not genetically sound, or maybe there is cross mutation from other farms into your farm, and then you are now having genetically confused crops, if I may use that word. You will get to find out that you have contaminated your produce. So key principles in farm food safety. Number one, soil management. We have to manage our soil and ensure that our soil is rid of contamination. We have to consistently ensure that our soil is of optimum conditions in terms of pH, in terms of aeration, in terms of structure. Our soil has all the necessary nutrients needed. We cannot be having food that is deficient in some certain kind of nutrients and then giving us all manners of reactions. For example, people say, oh, this is what pineapple does. Pineapple has this remedy. Maybe if you're bloated, you take pineapple, and then you begin to take pineapple that has deficiency in its nutrients. That means that pineapple is just fiber. You will eat it and you will not have what it is needed, it's supposed to do in your body. Now, another thing is water management. We see instances of people fetching water from the gutter to go and water their crops. We see instances of people using water from any source, unverified source, unchecked source, to water their crops, or to even mix the chemicals that they spray on their crops. This is a challenge in food safety. This causes contamination. This adds to the different things that can contaminate our crops. We have the animal management, we have pest and chemical management, and then harvest and storage. Let us talk a little about chemical management. Farmers are now so dependent on chemicals in the farm, from weeding, pest management, harvest, storage, and every process in the farm, even ripening. Chemicals are now being used to activate ripening in crops. Now, these chemicals have residual effect. These chemicals remain in, imagine residuals of a herbicide. Herbicides are used to kill crops. And imagine that a farmer that uses sniper, for example, some farmers use sniper, the chemical, which is a pesticide, to preserve some of their livestock, some of their farm produce. And then we use it in quantities that we are not even aware. We've not even measured this quantity and look at what time it will take for this quantity to wear off from this produce. So chemical contamination is one of the biggest challenges of food safety in our farms today. Now we talk about traceability and record keeping. This is a major challenge. Nigeria has a challenge of traceability and record keeping, as farms, the moment a produce goes into the market, you cannot tell where it came from. So if people are eating and having food poisoning, you don't even know which farm it is coming from. So we need to begin to enact traceability. If you're in a farm, you need to begin to trace all your crops, all your produce. Where is it being sold? Who bought it? What batch was sold? So that if there is a contamination, if there is a challenge, if there is a poisoning, if there is any form of challenge in that crop, you can actually trace it. You can know, you should be able to trace these fruits, this produce, these animals. It was harvested from this section of the farm. So there also comes the issue of storage. You do not just pack everything together. There has to be a proper labeling and traceability of your crops, of your animals, to be able to trace whatever challenges are coming. And of course, good agricultural practices. So good agricultural practices are things that we cannot overestimate. Every time we need to begin to understand the different good agricultural practices needed for our different farms. If you're having, for example, a livestock farm, you must be intentional about your biosecurity. You must be intentional that people don't just walk from anywhere that they were outside and they just walk into your animal farm. There must be that fumigation. There must be that would I call it immunization, where they have to either step into a biofortified water, or they have to be sprayed with chemicals that will rid them of any germs that they are bringing from outside. Good agricultural practices, we have to see if in the crop farm, we're talking about weeding, we're talking about ensuring that you reduce pest infestation to a minimum. We are talking good agricultural practice still emphasizes the use of biological pest and disease management methods. Chemical methods should be like a last resort when you have had major infestation or when you have had resistance to your biological methods. Chemicals should not be the first port of call, which unfortunately has become the issue in Nigeria today. You see farmers planning from day one. In fact, their first day in the farm, in fact, they are spraying and telling you that they are doing preventive spraying, and then they are already spraying chemicals even at the tender stage of the crop. So the crops are uptaking chemicals from the second week, from their second week. Meanwhile, there are different biological methods that could have been used to ensure that these farms do well. Let us also talk about harvesting and storage. What are your harvesting methods? How are you harvesting to ensure? Are you harvesting at the proper time? Some people harvest semi-ripe in the name of, oh, we don't want it to spoil. They harvest semi-ripe farm produces. We have had instances where people in the poultry industry, instead of leaving their birds to get to 6 weeks, their broiler birds to get to 6 weeks, by 3 weeks, because of having pumped them with boosters and all manners of chemicals, they begin to sell at 3 and 4 weeks. Between 3 and 4 weeks, and begin to sell, and then these birds are immature birds. Their meats are not fully developed for consumption. So what is your harvesting technique, both as a livestock or as a crop farmer? What is your storage technique? What are the chemicals you are using to store? How are you fortifying your storage environment to ensure that there is no pest infestation in your farm? So food safety is quite important. Food safety is very, very key for us to be able to produce quality food for both local consumption and the export markets. So that is what we'll be taking today on agriculture for today and tomorrow. I believe that somebody has learned and has seen the importance of food safety in the farm, and has also understood that it is from implementing these food safety policies that you will be able to expand your market. You will not just be selling to the open market. With proper food safety management systems, you will be able to supply to companies. We have heard of farmers that have taken their produces, they compile their produces together, take it to the to companies, and only 60%, if not 40% of their produce is accepted. The rest are rejected. Why? Because of improper food safety management system. So farmers need to begin to adopt this as a regular lifestyle, not only when they are targeting some set of people to sell to. It is something that they should target as a regular habit in the farm to ensure the quality of produce that is brought out, whether it is for domestic or for international markets. My name remains Daniel Black, and this has been Agriculture for Today and Tomorrow. Thank you for being on the show. Hopefully you have learned something, and if you have learned something or there is something you would like to add, a contribution, a question, please go on our social media at GSA Initiative, and you would see our post. Please comment on the post, make a comment there, ask a question there, and we will engage you further. See you in the next episode. Thank you.